tell Liberian people that it's okay, to identify with the president without being characterized as unpatriotic, which is the false narrative that some of our folks in the opposition community has, they've begun to propel. That when some ordinary people, the commoners and what have you, they make them, sort of feel a little bit guilty about identifying with the president. But then these people found such strength in numbers that it came out on July 17 in such large numbers that you
mean the thank you rally?
The thank you rally, that it served as a rude awakening to all the opposition people, all of the naysayers about the President Weah regime, all of the things they've said for many, many years to get people discouraged about their support for the president. Those things haven't achieved much results, and it seems as if it is as a result of firstly their law, but also some of the works that we've been doing, and that's exactly why we came together. So we have people of varying talents, but specifically communication talent across different government agencies and ministry, but also in the private sector. We have people from the NGO sector. We have other professionals. For instance, we have some engineers
who don't regularly get involved with politics.
Normally wouldn't get involved with politics, but they've been so much inundated with these lies and all of that. And some of the times they just resigned and said that they're going to sit back. But then when the Weah intellectual movement came about, which they saw as non-partisan, but it is not a partisan group. So it means that people from any political party can join us as long as they believe in President Weah. Yeah, so you can be from the Unity Party. As a matter of fact, I'm beginning to get as chairman a lot of different expression of support from people from other political parties. No, definitely people. Some of the folks that have been vehement critic of the president on social media, following the thank you rally, they're beginning to have a rethink. So some of them reach out to me and say, "I want to be a member of the Weah intellectual movement." They say, "I'm looking at it clear."
And they're willing to come publicly.
Yeah, so they're willing to come publicly. So they're asking us, they said, we don't want to be under the partisan, sort of umbrella, but we can be part of a professional group that support the president. And so it seems as if the Weah intellectual movement is beginning to provide a canopy for all of the different people from every facet of society that intend to support His Excellency, but they don't want to become part of the partisan process. And it's fun to be a partisan. As a matter of fact, we have a lot of different members of the Congress of Democratic Change and the Coalition of Democratic Change that are part of our members. We have other people that support the president generally that call themselves Weahians. But we have other people who are just professionals. They haven't been actively involved with politics, who are beginning to come our way. So we are amassing people from every sphere of society.
As a matter of fact, I mean, this is the only intellectual movement of professionals I've seen, supporting a political leader. I haven't heard of any intellectual group, supporting a political leader.
And it's quite unique.
So is it advantageous for you?
Extremely advantageous, and it is quite unique. It is. We should state that when President Weah became president, as a matter of fact, before he became president, when he was running for the presidency, there was this sort of tag that he doesn't. People that support him belong to a certain class of society, that they aren't intellectually and they aren't sophisticated enough, they are intellectually inclined or sophisticated enough, and all of those different lies about him. But when folks saw that all of these were quite untrue, that there are people that they are strong men, the likes of Kanye Obala, the likes of Isaac Doe, the likes of Wilfred Bangura, the likes of Jacob Jalla, the likes of a whole host of different people, Caroline Myers, Amelia, Samade Flomo, Alimantu Nuri, the likes of CEO Sifwa Megre, the likes of Vivi. I mean, I can go on and name people that are professionals in their own field and have reached the top of their careers. So when we came together, it seemed as if it's a shock opposition, and we've taken off ever since. And a lot of people out there have identified with our cause. They've seen, our strength, and they've decided, well, I think rather than being a closet supporter of the president, now I can come out. I've been supporting the president for too long, but people have been lying to us.
Convenient space.
Yeah, people have been lying to us, say, oh, the president like this, the president like that. But as soon as you see all these smart people not supporting the president, so I need to come out now. So that how can a lot of people start coming out? And we're telling them it's okay. Don't allow people box you in the corner to say, oh, it is not patriotic to support the president. It is wrong when you support the president. Firstly, the president was elected through democratic means. He's not a dictator. He's one of the most democratic leaders that Liberia has ever had. He was elected democratically in 2017. He whipped the very folks that are opting for the presidency now, and we're determined this time around to win on the first ballot. The first ballot, because there are a number of indicators. Firstly, at the time he was in the opposition, he hadn't exhibited some of the leadership qualities that he's done so far. And ever since he became president, we've seen the level of enormity of the development that he's carried out, whether it is the scores of development projects in terms of the housing units or the several parks we are constructing, the hundreds of kilometers of roads, the addition. As a matter of fact, can you imagine that this man has built more than 3 hospitals since he became president 5 years ago? This is something that took generations for other leaders to build.
So the movement is there to communicate
exactly
these developments.
That's exactly the rationale, and we are glad that we are getting a lot of traction from the public. This is something that they've always wanted. Supporters of the president, they've always wanted a medium through which the president's message can be communicated, but also a group that they can identify with. A group such as this. For those people who in the private sector that you won't do party business, they can identify a win. A group such as yours, maybe people in the media, because we're getting some people in the media that are saying, as a matter of fact, we have a media professional as we speak currently on Truth FM, who is saying, we support the president, but we won't be part of the party thing and this and that. They are coming to us. But then there are also the partisans of the CDC who themselves, have been they've been rebuffed. They've gotten tired of the lies. Whether it is the 16 billion lie, the lie from Jerome Verdier, the Justino Taylor lie, the 25 million lie. There's been a group of people ever since 2018 who've dedicated themselves to just lying about anything the president will do, because it seems as if that's the first time we had an experiment in Liberia that we have a whole group of old guys leaving the leadership of the country in 2018, and we have a bunch of young leaders, the likes of Isaac Doe, the likes of Mama C. Kaba,
and Isaac Doe,
and all the different folks. So those are the people in leadership now. And our people are not used to that. The people that are part of the political establishment, they're not used to people from slum communities becoming leaders. So that's why you see they're projecting all these different lines.
Yeah. So Isaac Doe is here. He's the vice chair for operations of W.I.M. So we've just been looking at the uniqueness, the essence of the movement, and recent engagements and all that. So go ahead, Isaac.
We say we won't go. Yo. All of us. Yeah. My brother, thank you. It's an exciting morning to be here. And I think it should be my first time on the show. I guess you people keep trying to get me at the back, but it's good to be here right now. And thank you, my chair, Boakai Fofana, who has laid the basics of the Weah intellectual movement. My brother, we want to do things the different way. We don't want to keep doing things the same old way that have produced no results. In the past, Liberia has had wars on it. Now, we want to retire the issue of wars to action. What do I mean? People who voted in the past only voted for whoever they voted for because of sweet, sweet wars. Today, we want people to vote because of not wars, but action. What are those things that have been done? Like I've always said, physical that eyes can see. Yes, I can go to have a campaign rally and say all of the sweet things you want to hear. I don't want our people to anymore go by that. We always want our people to go by what has transformed their lives and what betters Liberia as a country. This is the core reason why the Weah intellectual movement was established, just like the chair said. Two things have always happened. This government has done a lot, and our friends from the other side said a lot against the government on things that have not happened. And so we thought to be the checkpoint in the middle of
so they are going in parallel.
Very well. We thought to be the checkpoint in the middle of these two things. That's the reason why, from one angle, we will be telling the labyrinth people on the day-to-day, hour-to-hour, second-to-second basis what this government, under the leadership of His Excellency the President, has done for Liberia, so that they can know, not just hear, but see. On the other side, we want to be the point wherein we checkmate our friends from the other side. Say, look, you said $25 million is missing. Oh no, Liberia has not had any instance under the leadership of this president where $25 million was in fact spent on anything. First off, let's start with the 70 million, because no 25 million was spent nowhere. So we want to be sure we provide that necessary checkpoint for the lies, for the slandering, for the misinformation. You know, I was on Facebook quite recently, and I listened to one man from somewhere around Lofa, one of the journalists was talking to, and you know, it was just funny because most of the guys were calling him Mr. Thank you, because everything he would say, thank you, stuff like that. And then he said, you know what, John, look at the 16 billion loss. You see, the people. So I said, no. These are the people we have to talk to, because unfortunately, this man was made to believe that $16 billion was lost somewhere. These are the people we just don't need to give voice, but we need to show evidence. So listen, this is a report not from Liberian government, but from an internationally accredited organization that did investigation of the lies that were told and found that such thing never happened. In addition to that, my brother. Wow, on another radio, the other woman say, the auditors pass away. So all these things. Now, these are the people we will be talking to every day. What has happened differently under this government? Every time there is some misfortune, which as a matter of fact, no one should be subjected to, this government did not just start on the issue of acquisition, but gone further to ensure it completed every investigation, issued our credible report. What happens then is how our friends from the other side decides to portray this report, which is a different thing. So these are the basis why WIM is here, and WIM will always be here.
So what happens to what you call lies go without being debunked?
Well, my brother, it is dangerous for the society. It is bad for the society, because lies can even make someone to do things before they get to know the reality and then regret. Why should we even sit to allow these things happen? Someone told me, though, that maybe you guys are late. You should have started this some 4 or 5 years ago. I agree with them.
Do you agree?
I agree with them. This is something
would it have an impact?
And the thing is,
would it have an impact?
Well, because those things have been said, and there were no many points in which they were checked. So I will say yes. But again, there is never better time late than never. The fact that we are here and we will continuously be everywhere across the country, every media platforms, every community engagements, at the market centers, we will talk to our people, and we believe that by the end of the day, our voices will have an impact in the ears of our people, because we will not just be talking like our friends who do, just talk and show nothing. If I say President Weah has done this, I'm not just going to just say that in voice. I'm going to show where he has done it. If I tell you that the first time in our country history, wherein what we always call the gateway to Liberia's economy has had a gigantic corporate office whereby business of the day-to-day is being conducted conducively, I'm not going to say, I'm going to show you the NPA. And then where I was going there and see the buildings.
And then where I was
That's
coming,
where we think our people will believe us.
And then where I was coming to ask the chairman.
Okay.
I mean, as you propagate these messages, your messaging, your engagements, are you saying them in abstract, or are you going to point to the evidence? If it's to print flyers.
No, I mean, we want to do that. First and foremost, I just wanted to highlight the fact that firstly, we have to use the very medium that some of the folks have used over the years to lie about the things happening in Liberia, such as yours. We know ELBC is one of the biggest media platforms in the country.
It is.
And so we needed to be here. But also there is the presence of something quite unusual that hasn't happened in Liberia over the last 20 or so years, which is social media. You know, initially, before the onset of the Civil War, we traditionally had two media institutions, EAW, ELBC. So when you communicate through ELBC, you've effectively communicated to the rest of the population. But unlike now, we have now social media that any Tom, Dick, and Harry can sit in their home with a smartphone and just project a lie. And that has been the medium that they've used. And so we are utilizing that. You know, so but every weekend we also do community engagements. Last weekend we were in the Oro community where we appear at the Concerned Intellectual Association, the CIA, on the Old Road. We intend to go to the United Tailor Union this coming weekend on the Somalia Drive with about more than 2,000 members and all of that. Following that, we will also be projecting some of these things for folks to see, maybe on social media, maybe in person.
Projectors and all that.
Yeah, definitely. Are these different?
How important or significant are these engagements?
The engagements have been transforming lives. People have been coming forward. You know, when we go to speak, folks come forward. We tell them that some of the things you've heard have been lies. For instance, I've seen a lie being put out by one of the senior members who were previously supporting the president, but you know, he has some personal issues later on. So at the end of the day, most of the critics about the president is just personal sour grapes. You either expected that you probably would have had a job, but the president deemed it necessary that you didn't fit in this particular place, and so you know he put in a different person and said maybe you can serve in a different role, and then you get mad, you leave. I'm talking about Eva, you know, Iva. Who now supports who now supports the ANC, an opposition political party. He posted a couple of hours ago talking about no investors in Liberia and all of that. This has been such a lie and a false narrative they projected. First, let me tell you about the oil sector. You know, there has been this lie that we haven't attracted a lot of people. And I want to tell you shortly that we've attracted a lot of different investment. I'm going to enumerate those investments. But first, I want to talk about the oil sector. The oil sector was demolished under the Unity Party leadership. They categorized our different basins into Titan blocks. They collected money from these people, millions of dollars, hundreds of millions of dollars, to the extent that an international organization did a report on Liberia, which essentially discouraged further investment in Liberia. You know, these people were just collecting money here, there, and now willy-nilly and pocketing. Liberia became a pariah as far as oil, to the extent that they made the oil company to collapse. $100 million oil company.
You're talking about Noka?
I'm talking about Noka. Titan oil blocks, they collected money for a kuna account for. And what do we have? Zilch. Nada. Absolutely nothing. And then they talk about, oh, you're having attracted investment and all of that. Where are the investments they're trying to? Where's Chevron? Where's ExxonMobil? That they say keep the these people packed up and left. But beyond that, where is BSP Billiton and all the different companies that they claim that they have attracted? 16 billion potential investment. Remember that time? That was their major narrative. So, all the different people intending to come to Liberia will have potentially $16 billion worth of investment coming to Liberia. None of those took off because of the alarming level of stealing and corruption that happened under the Unity Party government that Joseph Boakai was complicit in. That today he wants to morph himself into a different personality, and people say, oh, he's the wise old man who was, somehow they want to portray him as an innocent bystander. He was not. He was part of the stealing and pillaging of the country, and all of the folks around him were part of it. These are not new guys. These are the same old guys. These are the people that have stolen from this country for many, many years. But let me tell you what President George Weah has done. President Weah has renegotiated under the astute leadership of the folks at Boakai, headed by CEO Fofana. They've renegotiated these different agreements. They're trying to resuscitate the Liberian, the national oil company. They're doing the best. As a matter of fact, we are in advanced talks with Shell and ExxonMobil. They're going to be coming here with millions of dollars worth of investment. I'm sure you must have seen the communication some time back. These people are going to be coming back to Liberia with millions of dollars of of investment. We already concluded the different stages of initial discussions. Unlike before, where they presented too many different prerequisites that would have hindered this stuff, just in all kinds of different bureaucratic measures and red tape, just to collect money. This time around, we're not having that. We've eased those different measures, and we are in advanced talks with these different companies, and they're going to provide thousands of jobs. But let me just tell you, additionally, about the kind of jobs, the kind of companies that we've attracted so far. Folks have told you that since 2018, there's been no investment in this country, right? And that's what they tell you, right?
Yeah, that's the narrative.
That's a lie. But let me tell you,
confronted.
Let me name some of them. We have Nimba Rubber Incorporated that came to Liberia in 2019. Nimba Rubber Incorporated. We have Golden Safecar. We have Manal Palm Oil Industry Limited. We have Hemabel Resources. We have Biochico Resources. Medtech Scientific. We have Trancom Liberia. We have Futa Jalo Corporation. We have Star Cement. And as a matter of fact, I should state that traditionally in Liberia, since 1847, we've only had one company, one cement company, right? Cemenco. Now, under President Weah, we open up the cement industry. We have three. So we no longer have a monopoly. So
it's liberalized.
Yeah, it's been liberalized, just like the cell phone companies were liberalized. So now we have not only more people employed, but we have competition within the cement sector that people now from the different companies, people now can when you come to a particular cement company, you're not satisfied with the price, you obviously can go to another one. So the different companies are sort of competing. And what that does is that the consumer benefit, right? We, the consumers that are building our houses on the Roberts Field Road. But I can go on and on and on. We have manufacturing, we have modern mills, we have Getty Rubber Incorporated. We have Liberty Incorporated. We have Dua Plus that is producing plastic. We have G5 Plus. We have the Liberian American Portrait. And more than a dozen of these companies have already, their concession agreements have already been rectified. Some of them promising 300 jobs, others promising 1,000, 2,000, 300. Over time, if you calculate these different opportunities over the period of the concessionaire life, we're talking thousands of jobs. But it's even more. We're also reforming the Liberia Business Registry so that there are small businesses that don't equate to maybe 500,000 out to $1 million, investment opportunity. Maybe we're talking a couple of $1,000, for a small shop here and there. We're making it quite easy for a Liberian to open up his business. So these different businesses are opening up all over the country. We've had hundreds of them opening up all over the country because of the liberalization of the business atmosphere in our country. And what that has done is creating 4 jobs in one shop, 3 jobs in another shop. You multiply that, we're talking thousands and thousands of jobs. But these people will have you believe that nothing is happening under President Weah. It is quite ludicrous. It is laughable. It is, the thing that the former U.S. president called, the intensity of the fake news, because they believe that the people are going to believe the sound bites as they just say it, and it resonates in the media. People just play it over and over, and then people say, "Oh yeah,
you intend to use the very medium they've used over the years to spew out these lies.
Yeah,
how is it paying off?
It was beginning. As a matter of fact, I was just citing the July 17 rally, but even more, we are being inundated by calls. People are telling us, as I'm speaking, I'm getting text messages. People are telling us, why didn't we hear these things before? Why haven't you been projecting these things? You know, we think our leader is doing so well. And by their leader, they're talking about the man who came from the slum community, who played for young survivors, who played for bone rangers, who scavenged in, you know, some of the different squalid environments within Monrovia. No other leader has been through the kind of conditions that President George and Weah has been through. They've read about poverty. They've never lived poverty. President Weah lived poverty all over Monrovia. And that's why a number of people can identify with. So that's why we're selling. We're telling you that for a person who's lived, you know, the sort of destitute life that President Weah lived, has risen to the extent of becoming president of the country, that person has no option but to dedicate his time in office to improving the lives of ordinary people. That's why you see he creating free education. That's why you see he creating, building hospitals, he's building parks, he's improving, he's building parks in communities that aren't in Bamba Point, they're in West Point, they're in Clara Town, they're in Yuku Town. You're not building parks in places that sons and daughters of the traditional elites have always benefited from, and they are the ones that have been given, you know, the opportunities traditionally. He's creating opportunities for poor people.
Let me come to you, as I was asking. You know, the people. You say you want to use the same medium that people have used to spew out lies. How is it paying off for you? Well, I mean, you've been part of major engagement.
Oh yeah, very greatly. At one point in time, I remember I was on Spoon Talk, and a lot has happened then. And as of today, a lot is also going on. But you know what? The chair said very important issues that I just wanted to chip in quick before going forward. You know, there are things, if you were to go down the street on a day-to-day basis, you hear our people saying, and sometimes it's like, okay, well, maybe we needed to do things the other way for our people to hear from the other side. Let's take, for instance, like the chair said, how many times haven't you heard, even from members from the national legislature who know very well the real truth, but saying that this president's administration has never brought in this country any investment? How many times you've listened to Chairman Boakai listing itinerary of investments opportunity Liberia has benefited under the leadership of this president? The next thing you will always hear, always been the issue of the government create no job, nobody get jobs. These are things you've heard every day, everywhere, from the little brothers and sisters who are on the other side in the minority, but with nuts all around the place. With what Chairman Boakai has said, with all of these investments opportunity, let someone tell me robots or cats or maybe deer from the butchers are the one working there. Of recent, you know, Liberia has had for the first time a miners factory. Who's working there? Ants working there, or spirits? Do we now have aliens? No. You are seeing roads being constructed across the places. Who's doing those roads building? Who's doing those constructions? Are they just houses passing doing it, or machine? Having the human being? Jetty is constructing this large steel factory. Who's doing that, my brother? Look at the water factories that have been established across Liberia. Who's selling those waters? Who's working at those places? Are they aliens? Are they grads? Or are they ants coming from the place working? So these are the level of lies our friends want our people to believe. That's why we're here. Now you hear a lot of things, my brother. Let's unpack just little by little on things where we go. Now, let's look at youth, where I'm from. Where do this government, under the astute leadership of this president, stand when it comes to young people's life being transformed? Listen, I will always say, like I've said times and everyone, Liberia is not where we want it to be. Liberia still has a lot of work to do. Liberia still got problems. We aren't saying that President Weah has turned Liberia into gold and diamond and white and no little dyed on it. Liberia got problems. We still have issues. We agree. Problems are there. There are people who unfortunately are still finding it difficult to find ends meet. We know. Our argument is, how far has this country come since President Weah was elected president, even comparing to where it was at from 1847? What has been transformation in the educational sector? Let's start up. And that benefits the young people as well. I have my friends before who, whenever they wanted to do their registration from UL, they will stay on this long line. From UL passing Stella Maris, they will be on the line going on the street over there. No, today you don't have to stand on line. You can be right in the comfort of your home and use just your phone to do your things. Let someone come from the opposition and tell me, no, this is bad. We don't want the student having flexibility to actually plan their courses. In addition to that, my brother, I was at Duporo one night and a lady who was selling her little pepper and things was telling me how she used to struggle before, sell her little things, take money to pay the school fee for her son. Today, she is not worrying about paying the school fees anymore. She can save that little money she used to use on her school fees for different things. Let someone come and tell me that tuition free at the level of all state-run universities aren't things that benefit young people and aren't good things for our country. How are you going to do things better than this? Let someone come and tell me the construction of schools, the empowerment of county education officers, where they've been mobile, that they can monitor what's happening in the institutions, aren't better for our country. This is why we thought we need to have these conversations. We need to sit on the table. Don't tell us, hey, President Weah will be one-term president. That's not why we want to vote for you. That's not why we want the people to vote for you. We want you to tell our people that, listen, President Weah has had tuition-free policy. It is bad. If you vote for me, I will have air condition all on the street in Liberia. Come and tell the people what you will do better than what the man
alternative to what is being
what has been done. He will be one-term president living. And I wanted to quickly say, I was talking about youth development. I was starting first from the educational side and see how these things benefit young people. But let's come from our own angle, the Ministry of Youth and Sports. What are things that have been done? There are a couple of projects this president has mandated us we carried on. What are those? Let's first start from the Youth Opportunity Project that ended sometime 2021. That project benefited 15,000 young people across Liberia from two angles. One, about 4,000 of that number benefited from small business grant. What did that do? When I was doing my master's, one of the places I focused was Liberia. One of the things that I found was that too many young Liberians want to do business. They have the zest. They really want to. In fact, most of them do start businesses. Within 1-2 years, those businesses crash or probably get down. The question is why? One, maybe lack of business management. Two, access to microfinance where they can help themselves. And that's what exactly that project brought. Wherein we provided on how you manage and grow your businesses and help them with little grants where they can help expand their businesses. The second component was those in the rural part of the country mostly who we encouraged to go back to the soil, cultivate some farmlands, plant whatever they wanted to plant, have those produce being sold, and we bought those produce. In addition to that, we gave them what we call cash transfer subsidy so that they can be empowered to do that. Now, today, we are running the Real Last project. By the time that project is completed in 2026, that was solely negotiated by President Weah, we will be targeting some 55,000 young people. Now, one thing that is very critical to note is still going to expand on the big issue of business opportunity, where about $900 will be given to some 4,000 beneficiaries. In addition to that, $16 million of that money is contributed towards cash transfer, direct cash transfer. Listen, you are struggling, you're doing your best, you're trying, the government wants to help you with small things. Add this one on the little thing you get and help your family. 16,000 people will be benefiting. We will be having people also doing little work for pay. You sweep the street, you paint the little building. $240 will be distributed to about 21,000 people. Now, these are things in the youth space. And let me not just say, my brother, when the last time have you seen the like of Fly, Linsu, Mano River Union on the street protesting or going for National Congress where you see people throwing stones, breaking chairs? When the last time? The last time you saw that was in the last administration. When Mr. Boakai was the vice president. Today, real leadership has taken over the country. And so Liberia will never go back. WIM is here to ensure that happens. We will not turn our face backwards. We will continue on the path of development. honor this development of president.
Okay. So, Chairman, are there plans to document these achievements?
Well, I know. We have various means to sort of communicate our achievement, and there are all of the things are being envisioned, all of the things are being planned, given the level of resources that we have so far. So that has been one of our challenge. But let me state that it hasn't really hindered our activities. As a matter of fact, firstly, we are so passionate enough and so dedicated that in spite of our meager resources that we managed to collect here and there, we are doing quite a lot. Given the level of resources that we have, but we also have had quite some, a number of unreserved givers and people who also are passionate about President George M. Weah. And at a given time, we want to start announcing them and what have you. So those have been some of our challenges, but we are willing to do all that it takes as far as communicating the message of His Excellency President George M. Weah is concerned. Those are the things that we are willing to do. Look, on the morning of the thank you rally, you and I are coffee lovers.
Yeah.
So I went to get my cup of coffee at a place, and the lady was serving me her coffee. But before then, her manager has spoken quite disparagingly about the Liberian leader. I obviously I wouldn't sit by and allow that happen. So I engaged, and talk. But then the server and the cleaners and those taking care of the table and the rest of the people, all of them were Weah supporters. So when she left the room, they came to me and said, "Don't mind our woman. Yeah, the people that who been here all the time. They ain't let the president and X, Y, and Z, but we are coming to the rally." She could not express it in front of her boss. And that is the situation that a number of people face. And that's what we want to highlight. They sort of cocks our people in a corner. And that's what the opposition, that's the mistake they
make them timid.
Yeah, they make them timid. That's the mistake they tend to make. They made that mistake in 2011. They made that mistake in 2017, and it was quite costly because they sort of disparage all of those people who, rather than getting to their level and explaining to them why their ticket is the best, they disparage them. Oh, you don't know book, you didn't know enough, you're not smart enough. How will you be supporting George? I mean, politics is interest. All politics are local, they say. What that means when they say all politics are local, people identify with their local concept. Who identifies with them? Who is that candidate that they can relate to? Who is that candidate that espouses their ideas, their views? Who is that candidate that is identical to them? George Weah is identical to a lot of people. Listen to the way he speaks. He speaks like the regular folks. He speaks like ordinary people. Look at the places he's been, the places he has lived, the schools he went to, Elements Carbarrow, Weah. Those are the things that people identify with. They're not talking about people that went to Harvard University and came back. No, not that kind of people. As much as that is important, Weah epitomizes, he reflects poverty. He reflects the market woman's child. So if a woman is selling in Douala market and has, and maybe gave birth to a child, and sees the level of disparity in society. One child is going to an elite school, a posh school, and another child is going to a community school. She can relate with President Weah that particular child that is going to a community school can one day be president. That's exactly the situation with President George M. Weah. He went to a community school. He managed to pull his way out of poverty through perseverance, dedication, and hard work. He pulled his way out of poverty and became president of Liberia. That's what the market women identify with. That's what those ladies at the coffee shop, that's what they identify with. That's what poor people in the streets of Monrovia can identify with. That is why people like us, I didn't know anybody in government. As I didn't know anybody in government. People like us who were poor people before, who nobody, the previous government, don't look at us and say, no, you deputy minister, what pay?
Why are you going be?
Why you going do Fofana, that the kind of people are supposed to be deputy minister? President Weah debunked those narratives and said, we need to change it. The market woman in Douala, in West Point, in Yukuta, or Terentu need to have leadership opportunities. Because at the same plan, so why the rest of the people discouraging people say, oh, the people you know, Bo, how can you support it? Look at the guy, she says she's supporting John Weah. Yeah, people supporting John Weah because he identifies with them. Your leader has been at the helm of authority for more than 40 years. He's been complicit in all of the corruption. Look, we can cite a lot of corruption. A $100 million company was broken down under the leadership of Joseph Boakai. $100 million company. I'm talking about Nokal. They had 13 oil blocks. They sold all of them. Where the money? Do you know how El Nito got more than $100 million out of that, bro? Wesley Crosser. The project key, the key sign contract, blah, 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 with corrupt leaders under the United Party regime. Sign contract, obtained a space, got a concession there, and sold it for $100 million.
This is a prelude to the campaign.
No, I'm telling you, that's exactly what's $100 million they sold it for. They got $100 million from Liberia without digging anything. The United Party, they were there. Joseph Boakai, people. $13 million out of the, you remember that case involving $13 million from, was that the Ministry of Health or Agriculture? Ministry of Health. They didn't investigate it, but the says you can put on the chopping board for our people there. And Joseph Boakai was as quiet as usual, does nothing, says nothing, sleeps all the time.
I think at the time, Walter Gonigali was there.
Yeah, so these are the things, the industrial level stealing were happening under their leadership. And it is unfortunate that they talk about, the institutional defaults here and there that they created, the left that we're grappling with trying to fix. President Weah has given prosecutorial powers to the LACC to go on and prosecute people, on their own. They don't have to wait for the different processes of the Ministry of Justice in order to prosecute. They can prosecute on their own. That is a level of transformation that isn't seen anywhere in Africa. So
as you can
sure, very well. I mean, it is crazy when you looking at these things afar and just want to shine light in the eyes of everyone. Listen, Liberians, we have to be careful on how we see our country years from now, and that will have a lot to do with people who we put in leadership. We have to carefully examine their past. I chose President Weah not because he's tall, he's strong, he's an energetic person. I have looked at his past, even during when he did not have any thought of wanting to be president. What were his contributions to Liberia? It is important we look at the past of people who want to be leader. I personally prefer talking about President Weah and my government than the other people. Well, let me slide back a little bit and say this. Let's look at our old pap, or former Vice President Joseph Boakai, who sees himself to be the only one who can be president for this country. The very same reason why he even refused to go for primary with his colleagues in the past. Because according to him, presidency is his ordained, it is his birthright. He must and only be the only one to be president. Let's look a little bit at this, our old pap's track record, what he could be. If the slightest mistake, Liberia's authority gets 1 million miles close to him. Let's look at the CPP from recent. The CPP was together until former Vice President assumed the chairmanship. That, whatever it was, got crumbled. That tells you leadership has a problem. Let's look at Henry Costa recent. Henry Costa was the man causing all the noise around here. In no time, that's crumbled. Let's look at ALP. ALP was all around here with the old man. His leadership crumbled. That other relationship. Let's look at the $30 million Libyan rice project in Liberia that President Sirleaf put Mr. Boakai over. That project crumbled. And my brother, before we end very quickly, this is someone who's been in government for, at the time, my mom and pa were talking about my big sister a long time when he was there. Not a single day he brought home one cup from all of the years he's been there. Today, he is telling us that he can bring fruits and cups and all of these things that can fill Liberia. That magic wine is not there. And I believe the consciences of our people will not be darkened by the past of words and slogan, but by the actuality of what's affected their lives and how their lives have been better, how roads have been built, how hospitals have been constructed, how school fees and WIM fees have been paid, how inflation has been reduced in the prices of commodity on the market, and how security has been enhanced, and all of these things. Our people will not be misled anymore. Liberia will always be better on the path of greatness.
Okay, so call us on 07705818886 080514096 080514096 or 07705818886. Top officials of the Weah intellectual movement are in studio. Good morning.
Hello.
Good morning.
Yeah. Good morning.
Morning.
Yeah, my name is I call for my rehab resident.
Yeah.
Let me appreciate your speaker guest this morning. And I don't say to the minister is still there. He's ready to get registered when you 40% we are you are on education society. And why the reason you see president we're family we live in Ezra, we see our entire life in Ezra and we know what he said for all in Ezra. And he had a try to keep for Ezra on to doing police agreement when you abroad. At the academy at the time it was not their 10 years. And we know what he said for us with people this again. So that passion is not because he played football, it's not funny. But we have that kind of love where I hear a letter to him. He had not had self when he felt the pain of we the little ones that were playing keeper just to go to school. So this is that's the reason I find interested in. And that's why I have very huge desire to bring together the community. Thank you for the show. Thank you for asking.
Thank you so much. Good morning.
Good morning, my studio.
Morning.
I thank you very much for what you're doing with this.
Yeah, but leave from the radio. Leave from the radio now.
Yeah. Thank you very much for giving elaborate school the information. You know, people say there, they talk so many things about Joey. Joey, I carry on 90%. You come and deliver the 10% to the library to make it 100. And we add up, so we overdo them with information. I don't know. My brother, maybe you say he didn't go to school, but see what he's doing. You are just defeated, nothing. I want the government job for my brother. Like we are. For I'm just solution to your junior, especially up on the Weah community. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
This is Pastor Davis on the Popo Defense team. Let me say a very big thanks to Mr. Doe and Boakai. You know, sometimes I let you guys from the street. Why is not Minister of Information? We have to have the information. You know, it's very sad. The only thing that peeves me.
Auntie, I said, go down there.
Yeah.
This is where the government has struggled. This is where we as people defenders are
communication, right?
Why is it that the president has done all of these things and is not being told to the public? You see, I get so better in my spirit. I think you could even be at the mission of defense force and still avail yourself to come and inform the people of the happiness of the government. It's sad, but again, it's better than ever. I mean, we are on course, and President Weah will be re-elected times October 10. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Call us on 07705818886. We're having some problem with our Lone Star line, but you can still call us on our alternative 770581886 and be live. Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
Yeah, this is CVS number calling from Mama Points.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is my very first time calling. Yesterday,
Go ahead.
I won this meeting at my area Banjo. Yeah, we have many supporters of CDC in Banjo, but we don't know one another. So I called a meeting. And some people were saying that they will teach down the chairman. We don't know the chairman. We don't know the head of the CDC in the area. So they were saying that you are trying to put us together with
we're ready for you to be our head. But I get my work because no kind of bad by my former body when we were UDP. That's where I'm working now. So I told them I gave my wow, Mr. Barakan here because he's my former board man. But right now I don't have the number. I'm still at number. If you gave my number, I need to he would know me from UNDP.
Yeah, I will give your name to the chairman.
Yeah. So I want you to come in my area. The second Sunday in next month we'll have your BT again.
Okay.
What is this area? What is the area?
Banjo.
You guys number?
Yeah, no more. Yeah.
Okay, you should get.
Yeah, where's the 30 hours?
Okay.
Just in number, he know me very well.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Good morning. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, brother Babe.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is Abu Sherry. I'm calling you from the
Yeah, what?
Mr. Fofana, how you do? Everyone are you?
Yeah.
Probably, actually, all the government that the president is now, the only one that very satisfying my problem, the decision of the airport rule.
I know.
The decision of that, the airport rule.
Exactly.
My brother, how many presidents, how many government are in this country?
Plenty.
So
we return.
And if they don't want you to say anything.
Like, I'm actually to pay. Me, I go in coming, you know, we have a jammer, you know, a simple mistake, special one fly waiting. There's simple mistake, you know, we hear one another, brother. So,
I know.
Okay.
All the government that can none of them are take decision to extend our airport Mr. President Weah. So actually, I thank you and we pray for him to complete. Brother, thank you.
Okay, thank you. I'll take a call and go back to our guests. Good morning. Morning.
Good morning. I want to say one information to my brother.
Yeah, but call your name.
I'm just recently getting the president. I was so well a manager, my man. They may go by fire, but I was asking you. Come on,
We're not denigrating any part. As a matter of fact, the sons and daughters of Nimba are really, really wonderful people. The president is from Nimba, in a way. His mother, you know, at the time, River says was actually in parts of Nimba, right? You remember I think you were on that trip with Doru. Yeah, where the president went to and Doru, where his grandparents came from. So the government values quite, strongly the people of Nimba County. But just before I close, a couple of things I just wanted to highlight. You know, there's been this recalling thing about former Vice President Joseph Boakai. Everybody that has and Musa Ability said it quite poignantly. He said anybody that has gotten in contact with the Unity Party has come out with a bad experience. That was his narrative. And it seems as if all of them have this experience. I remember President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, some of her surrogates, the Unity Party Vice President, the former Vice President was absolutely ungrateful. I know she specifically mentioned through her surrogates. I remember, I think it was the former finance minister who went to meet the former Vice President, and he said he had 13 grudges and stuff like that that he could not convey directly to his boss, but then had to write on a piece of paper to give to her emissaries who are going to go and meet him on the eve of 2017 campaign. Can you imagine? The woman is about to relegate the leadership of the country to you, but then you have tens of grudges that you could have expressed to her directly. You didn't. So President Sirleaf had that experience. President W.I.M Weah also had the same experience. Remember the case of President Weah, Surrogate is also saying that he intervened when the former vice president was not well and all of that. But then he came back and went straightly to the June 7th protest. They didn't thank the president, nothing. We're beginning to see other folks. The ANC, for instance, Cummins said the Joseph Boakai people told him to quote after expressing all his support. Costa Benina Yue, Tina Yue, Amin Modad, all of the different people, one recurring theme, all of them saying, I'm talking about Whistler, one recurring theme, even more Aliwe made that they done here at the Banga, they done here at the Banga or convention, you know, after sacrificing all his life for a different candidate. One recurring theme, all of them will say, is that this timber bearer is ungrateful. It's ungrateful. That's not the kind of person you put in the presidency of the country. The person who say, you know, I'm willing to dance with the devil. The man said it clearly, I'm willing to dance with the devil. That's what it takes. It means he can do anything. He's admitted to carrying a pacemaker. He's not well. He's unhealthy, but he wants to give the country, or potentially, to the protege of a warlord who's going to be, you know, perpetrating across the place by that warlord. That's what you won't do for Liberia, that the best you have for Liberia. But anyway, we have an alternative President George Weah who's doing so much development, you know, who has been, you know, on the trail of development, and there's a track record that you can follow.
And so quickly to end on a 1 minute. Liberia must go forward. In the past, things were being done, those little things were being done for the rich. Under President Weah, there's a lot of things are being done for the poor. For instance, houses were being built before, very small houses though, but those houses were being given to rich people. Today, houses are being built in large quantities. These houses are being given to the poor people. Before, roads were being constructed, those little roads could only stop to the houses of the rich people. Today, roads are being built to the areas where the poor are. Before, electricities were here in the little. Those electricity were actually at the houses and the businesses of rich people. Today, electricity is a thing of, I will call right, for everyone that is poor. It tells you that Liberia has moved on from the past where only the rich and those in status and the elite were the end of the day. Today, we are at the place where the poor and the poor are those people who are moving the ball. Liberia will never go back. We must always go forward. President Weah remains the only person that will make Liberia the Liberia we want in the future.
Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure having you too. Well, they are Isaac Doe, the vice chair for operations and the chairman of the Weah Intellectual Movement. My name is Vafle Kamara. You can join us tomorrow for another